welcome to another edition of Talking Sports and Fitness with Zeke. I'm Zeke, sometimes known as Mike Zielinski. My guest today is Reading Fightin Phils right-handed pitcher Tommy Bergjans, and you are an interesting guy because you pitch D3. And I think what's amazing is a lot of times people are profiled in high school, especially athletically, and that people when they're 16, 17 aren't what they turn out to be. So in high school, you didn't have much of a fastball, and you had no aspirations of playing pro ball, right?
No, and I definitely didn't project as somebody who would be a future professional baseball player either. I was probably 5'11", a $150, not particularly athletic looking, but thankfully got an opportunity to play. I knew I wanted to play in college, so I got an opportunity to play at a Division III school, Haverford College, out in Philadelphia.
Well, here in our area, we're all familiar with Haverford. I've never really thought of it as a petri dish for professional athletes. But you had a you gained weight, you gained a lot of velocity. You had a phenomenal college career.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, working with the pitching coach there, Nat Ballenberg, was like pretty instrumental in my development as a baseball player. I came in throwing about 82 to 84 miles an hour the fall of my freshman year, and left topping out at 94 my senior year. So a lot of it is a testament to his work as a pitching coach, along with the work of Corey Waltz, who is the strength and conditioning coach at Haverford.
Yeah, because I mean your stats at the Centennial Conference were like off the charts, and I'm sure that conference doesn't produce too many professional prospects, does it?
No, not really. I mean, we had a baseball player from Haverford get drafted last year in the 8th round, Stephen Ridings, but otherwise pretty few and far between.
Now you were signed by scouted by Rich DeLucia, Wyomissing native, who's you were with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And of course, Carlos Ruiz was the beloved catcher in Philadelphia forever, and you came to this organization in that trade.
Yeah.
And how do you like so far? You must like the Phillies organization.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and it was I got acclimated pretty quickly. Obviously, the trade, there were some mixed emotions, leaving friends and an organization I was comfortable with last August, but they welcomed me in really well, and all the people here are awesome and like very traditional baseball people, which I definitely get along with.
Now you had a delayed start to this season because I guess you had some tightness in your forearm and elbow, so you were basically in extended spring training.
Yeah, and rehabbing.
So are you pretty much stretched out now?
Yeah, basically right after my first start, I was ready to go. I was basically took 2 weeks off, started building back up, and was healthy, ready to go about a month and a half in, but then they just wanted to work me up as a starter. That was like the added 2-week delay, basically.
You know, I'm looking as we tape this. Your stats are good. You know, I guess you're well, you're 1-3, but that's a little misleading. And you have a decent ERA, just a tad over 5. But I guess what intrigues people about you is not only is your velocity in the mid-90s now, you have a lot of movement on your pitches, don't you? What is a spike curve?
A spike curve is basically if you were to have a traditional curveball. With your index finger, you spike a seam. That's what I do, at least. And there are multiple ways to do it, but you spike a seam. I had a coach who just taught me it when I was like 13 years old, and it stuck. But from what I've read about it, basically it's generally a little bit harder than a traditional curveball. And I think the flight of the pitch is a little bit different. You have less of like a pop-up, big loopy curveball.
Many guys use this?
There are a handful of big leaguers, for sure. I think the traditional curveball is probably more popular, but it's definitely gained popularity in like recently.
Now, do you throw a slider too, or don't you have to? Because that's kind of similar, right?
No, generally just the spike curve I'll throw, and I can just kind of vary the shape and speed. So early in the count, I'll go with something slower and a little bit bigger, around 77, 78. And then when I'm ahead in the count, trying to go for like a punch out or something, I'll throw a little bit harder, which naturally tightens it up. Velo goes up, and the movement profile is a little bit different, less depth, more like vertical movement.
Would you I think a lot of people consider the Eastern League to be a hitter's league, so obviously it's giving you a good experience, at least being challenged by better hitters.
For sure, definitely, and especially in this park, it's small and the wind blows out, so it is
this has been known as a great place for homers,
100%.
And there's been a lot of homers hit here the last 2 years.
100%.
Although some of the guys are now in Lehigh Valley, so that's kind of diminished a little bit, but. So what are you on track to where you know obviously you were delayed a little bit by injury this year, but where do you feel like you can track to?
Yeah, I think this was my goal, is to be pitching in AA, starting ideally as well. I basically had a full season high last year with the Dodgers, and if I were to like I guess, map out like a tentative plan of my professional career, yeah, right here is where I'd want to be, and hopefully I'll continue to improve and move up accordingly.
Now the thing is it because you went to school 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So you're 24 now.
Mm-hmm.
So like some kids, they come right out of high school and they're 17, 18. Do you get to the certain point where your age may work against you, or?
Oh, 100%. I think the moment you're drafted as a senior, especially the senior sign, coming in at 22, I think I ended the year in like full season ball, I was just about average. Last year's just about average, but like below average or like old for what you would consider a prospect. So I do recognize that. So it is 100%. I guess that is against me, but at a certain point, I don't concern myself too much with it. As long as I play well and continue to develop, I'll hopefully give myself an opportunity.
As we tape right now, the Dodgers on the Major League level are having an incredible season.
Yeah.
I think that they've won 30 out of their last 34 games.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow them at all, or?
Oh yeah, I still follow them. I mean, I grew up in Los Angeles, Manhattan Beach, California, so they were.
Yeah, that what I did notice that what a terrible place to grow up in,
I know,
right?
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. No, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
But so no, I grew up a Dodger fan, so I still follow. I mean, they're still like my favorite team growing up.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you're a diehard Phillies fan.
Of course, yeah. And I mean, when I got traded, like going to Haverford, a lot of my closest friends are from the Northeast and
They
Philly.
come up to see you play?
Yeah, so basically every home game I've had like a nice little fan section, and a lot of my friends are from Haverford, are Phillies fans, so they were really excited when I got traded.
I just want to ask you one more thing. When your high school teammates who remember you back as that skinny kid with not a lot of velocity, when they see you now and they know what's going on with you, they must. What happened, man?
I definitely think there was a bit of surprise, for sure. I mean, I had gotten opportunities to play in some good summer leagues, so I think that like it wasn't a complete and total surprise because of that. But yeah, for sure, I'm definitely bigger. And having seen some of my old coaches recently, and especially after I got drafted, talking to them, I think there was a surprise that I got drafted, and especially surprised I got drafted as high as I did.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the People's Chronicles. You have had a remarkable rise in a few years and continued, and I hope you get your dream of being in the big leagues.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you. Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
For now, this is Zeke saying goodbye.
These community stories are made possible in part by BCTV, Susie Ray Design, Queen City Family Restaurant, Lamar Advertising, Heidelberg Family Restaurant, Reading Air, Lions and Hole, Peanut Bar, and Kutztown University.